All right, so this lesson we're doing multiplying measurements. You don't have to worry about having a common denominator, but you do have to follow the steps. Although you have this video, make sure you're taking notes, because by the sounds of it, it don't sound like some of y'all are taking notes, or maybe even not even fully looking at the videos. So take notes as if you were in a classroom, because you're in a classroom and you're home. So number one, the first step you want to do is convert feet to inches when necessary. You're going to hear me say this over and over again as I'm working out problems. Convert feet to inches when necessary. I will let you know when it's not necessary throughout the lesson. Step two, convert mixed numbers to improper fractions. How do we convert mixed numbers to improper fractions? You take the whole number, multiply it by the denominator, add the numerator, denominator stays the same. And I'm going to use this for an example. We have 3 2/4. Mixed number to an improper fraction. Take the whole number and multiply it by the denominator. 3 times 4 is 12. When we add that numerator, it's going to give us 14. Denominator stays the same. That's what I need to turn that mixed number into an improper fraction. If you don't remember, rewind the video. Maybe you need to take a note of it and write it down. Mixed numbers to improper fractions. Take the whole number, multiply by the denominator, add the numerator, denominator stays the same. Please do not make that common mistake when you're converting a mixed number into an improper fraction by putting it over 1. The denominator will stay the same. Step 3, convert whole numbers to improper fractions when necessary. You'll hear me tell you when necessary, and I'll let you know when it's necessary. And you do that by putting it over 1, and I gave you some examples. 6 is just 6. To turn it into an improper fraction, I put it over 1. We got 6 inches standing alone. To take that and turn it to an improper fraction, we put it over 1. And then we have 6 feet. We got to take that 6 feet and convert it to inches. 6 times 12 is 72. We have to convert the feet to inches again. We're turning it into a fraction, and a fraction represents a part of your inches. So we turn it to a fraction of an inch. Anytime you have feet, you have to turn it into an improper fraction. You convert it to inches first. Step 4, cross-reduce if you can. And step 5, reduce to its lowest terms. And what I mean by cross-reducing, let's say you have 3/8 times 16/32 of an inch. When you're multiplying, you'll never multiply 2 units of measure. 1 unit of measure will represent just a number. The other unit of measure will represent, one numeric expression will represent a number. The other numeric expression will represent a unit of measure. You will never multiply a measurement times a measurement, because a measurement times a measurement gives you a squared number. So you don't want to, we will not be multiplying measurements times measurements. So you'll notice that one side has a measurement and one side doesn't. So cross-reducing is just like I'm saying, crisscross. I want to cross-reduce this way, then I want to cross-reduce this way. And just look at this as if it's a proper fraction, although it's crisscross. 3/32. Okay, something. You nerd. And then we got 8/16, right? Say that way. So I want to know, can I reduce this? It's crisscross. All we're doing is reducing it as if it's a proper fraction. So is there a number that can go on? Oh, yeah. Have a seat. Is there a number that can go on a 3 and 32 evenly? No, it's not. All right. So we can't cross reduce here. Is there a number that can go on a 8 and 16 evenly? Yeah. We want to start with 8. Let's start with that larger number. You always want to ask yourself first, can this largest number go into that denominator evenly? Yes, it can. So I'm going to use the 8 to reduce this. Although we could use 4 or 2, but I'm going to use the largest number. 8 goes into itself one time. 8 goes into 16 twice. And the same thing here, if we were reducing this will be 1/2. So that's cross-reducing. So again, number 4, cross-reduce if you can. 5, you always reduce to the lowest terms. Make sure you write down these notes so you'll have it when you're doing your homework assignment. Otherwise, you're going to have a lot of questions about something that you have access to. So take advantage of the fact that you have a video, pause it, write down notes, especially this, because if you have these notes, it'll help you get through your homework assignment and it'll be easier for you to follow along. So pause this before we actually get to working our problems, and let's get to it in 1 minute. All right, good day. Happy Thursday. Happy Friday in my mind. Today we're talking about multiplying measurements. So, for this assignment, you do not have to worry about finding a common denominator. We're done with that. Well, not totally, but for this lesson, we are done with that. So if you notice, I'm right on the horizon. I'm not stacking my numbers because in this case, I don't need to. So, in the beginning of the video, you should have seen, some information in there. Make sure you take notes because you'll need it to get through this assignment. And take notes on this lesson as you're viewing this lesson as well. So the first thing we need to do when we're dealing with feet is we need to convert feet to inches when necessary. I'm going to let you know when it's necessary. Mixed numbers turn into improper fractions. Whole numbers, we have to turn to improper fractions when necessary. How do we turn whole numbers to improper fractions? By putting it over 1. That's going to give us an improper fraction. And then once we do that, then we cross multiply, reduce if we can, and reduce to its lowest terms. So I'm going to get started with this first one. We have 8 and 17 times 2 feet, 1.5 inches. You'll notice that there's only one measurement per unit of measure when we're dealing with multiplication. So one of the numbers on either side of the problem will have the inch marks or that unit of measure, not both. Why? Because it'll give us a squared unit of measure. So we'll never multiply a measurement times a measurement. So with that being said, let's get going. So we got 8/17 times 2 feet, 1.5 inches. First thing we need to do before we can start cross multiplying is convert the feet to inches. I know that this 8/17 isn't going to change, so I'm going to just carry it down. I need to do something with this because this needs to turn into a fraction, be it a proper fraction or an improper fraction. When we're multiplying, we want to cross multiply. Anytime there's a fraction on one side, there has to be a fraction on both sides. So the first thing I'm going to do is convert my feet to inches. How do I do that? By multiplying it by 12. Feet to inches, we multiply by 12. 2 times 12 is 24. So I'm going to take those 24 inches and add it to the 1 inch that I already have. So 24 plus 1 is 25. And I'm going to bring down my fraction. All right. So again, anytime you have feet, you convert them to inches when necessary. We add it to the inch we already had. We're talking about a mixed number. All right. So we bring the 25 down and we bring our fraction down. But we still can't cross multiply. We can't go to the next step because now we have a mixed number. This mixed number, it still needs to turn into a fraction. And it's going to wind up being an improper fraction. So I'm going to take this 8/17 down again. And I need to turn this into an improper fraction. How do we turn mixed numbers to improper fractions? We take the whole number, which is 25, multiplied by the denominator. 25 times 2 is 50. We add the numerator. We got 51. The denominator stays the same. And don't forget, we just turned that to a fraction of an inch. It's an improper fraction. So now that we have our improper fraction, now we can cross reduce. What does cross reduce mean? Crisscross, literally that. x. So I want to cross-reduce this way. And the way I do that, I like to explain this. Can you see right here? I want to take this and see, I'm going to put the smallest number on the top of the larger number. Cross-reducing. All I'm doing is just like you were reducing fractions before. We want to see if we can reduce it. Is there a number that can go on a 2 and 8 evenly? Can I reduce 2 8s? Yes, I can. 2 can go on to 8 evenly. How many times can 2 go on to itself? 1 time. 2 goes into 8 4 times. So I can cross-reduce that 8 and 2. You can't always cross-reduce, but I can cross-reduce. I said that 2 can go on to 8 4 times, and I said that 2 goes into itself 1 time. So I just cross-reduce, crisscross, right? All we're doing is reducing to make it easier. Can you just multiply 8 times 51? Multiply these two numerators and multiply the denominators? Yes, you can, but it's going to give you these humongous numbers. And just to make it simple, we want to reduce, cross-reduce before we start multiplying. So we cross-reduced here. Can we cross-reduce to 1751? Ask yourself first. Again, let's look at it as if it's a fraction. I'm going to put the smaller number on top of the larger. Can 17 go on to 51 evenly? Let's start there. 3 times, you say? Yep, 3 times. So 17 goes into itself once, and it goes into, divide this by 17. It goes into itself once, and it goes into 51 3 times. So you're telling me that I can reduce that side, cross-reduce the 17 and the 51 as well. So the 17 can go into itself 1 time. It goes into 51 3 times. So now I just cross-reduce to its lowest terms. I can't reduce this any further. I can't reduce this any further. So now I just multiply the two numerators, which is 4 and 3. And then I multiply the denominators, which is 1 and 1. The reason why I like to circle them is because it lets me know that I broke it down. You want to make sure you cross this out so you're not using it when you start multiplying across. So 4 times 3 is 12. And now my denominator is 1 times 1 is 1. What type of fraction is that? Improper fraction. Let's not forget our inch marks. So anytime we have 1 as a denominator, our answer will always be whatever that numerator is. And there's my unit of measure. Is this our final answer? No. 12 or more inches we have to convert to feet. So our final answer would be 1 foot. I know this is a lot, but you will catch on. Make sure you're taking notes and make sure you use the information that I put in the beginning of the video. All right? You have to have 2 fractions to be able to cross-reduce. You will not be cross-reducing feet and whole inches, so we have to convert feet to inches. When necessary, it's necessary here because there's a fraction already in place on the other side. Convert the mixed number to an improper fraction, which we did here, and then we cross-reduce, and that gave us our final answer. All right, so again, anytime there's a fraction at hand on one side of that multiplication sign, that means there has to be a fraction on the other side. Because we have feet, we got to convert the feet to inches by multiplying by 12. We took the 12 inches, added it to the whole inches if you have some. That whole inch plus the 24 gave us 25 and a half of an inch because that fraction still is a part of them inches. So we had to drop that 8/17. Again, it didn't change because there's our fraction. I need that. Take the 25 and a half. Take that mixed number. We have to turn mixed numbers to improper fractions. We did that. Take the whole number, multiply by the denominator. 25 times 12 gave us 50. Add the numerator. It gave us 51 over 2. And cross-reduce when you can. Again, cross-reducing is taking those numbers that's diagonal from each other and seeing if you can reduce them just like you were reducing proper fractions. All right, so if you don't get it, eventually you will. So we had 12 over 1 as an improper fraction. We can't leave a final answer as improper fraction. It gave us 12 inches. 12 or more inches converts to feet and inches. It gave us 1 whole foot. All right, so let's look at number 2. I know off the bat I'm going to have to convert this 1 foot 6 3/4 inches to a fraction because there's a fraction on the other side of that multiplication sign. So I take the feet, I convert it to inches. How do we convert feet to inches? Multiply by 12. That gave us 12 inches that we have to add to the 6 inches we already had. Right?
18.
So, yep, 12 plus 6, we got 18. And now we have a mixed number of 18 3/4 inches. Right? So now, we don't need to do anything with this 14/15, so it's going to stay the same. You notice there's not a measurement here because we never multiply measurement times a measurement. So now we need to take this mixed number and turn it to a improper fraction. So we can do the next step, which is cross-reducing. So 18 times 4 is 72. So we'll take the whole number. I'm going to do it here. Take the whole number, multiply by the denominator. We got 72. Add the numerator.
75.
And the denominator stays the same. So now we got 75 over 4 times 14/15. And let's top that off with them inch marks. All right, so again, we took the feet, converted them to inches, took the inches, added them to the inches we already had to change that whole number in front of this mixed number. A mixed number consists of a whole number and a fraction. So 12 plus 16 gave me 18 3/4 inches. Got to take that mixed number and convert it to an improper fraction. How? We take the whole number, 18, multiply it by the denominator, add the numerator, and that gave us 72 plus 3, 75. Denominator stays the same, 75 over 4. So now we ask ourselves, can we cross-reduce? Can we cross-reduce? Is there a number that can go on a 4 and 14 evenly? Start asking yourself this. Can 4 go on a 14 evenly? No. Is there a number that can go on a 4 evenly?
2.
And 14. 2. How many times can 2 go on as 14?
7.
So 14 becomes 7 because we just reduced that. And this 4, you said it goes into itself one time. We just reduced that. Again, look at it as if you took these and stacked it. Look at it like this. What is that? 4/14. Can you reduce 4/14? Yes, you can. You're using 2. 2 goes into 4 twice. It goes into 14 7 times. Same thing. We just I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right. I did this wrong. Damn. So, and double check and don't speedball. So 2, I'm glad I did that because I would have worked the problem out wrong. So 2 goes into 4 twice. It goes into 14 7 times. We can't cross-reduce anymore because 2 can't go into 7, so we're done. All right, so what about this 15 75ths? Let me erase that. Can 15 75ths be reduced?
Yep.
Can 15 go into 75? Let's start with that larger number. 5 times? And how many times can 15 go into itself? 1 time. Bam. So now, can't cross-reduce anymore, so we want to multiply the numerator times the numerator. 5 times 7. 5 times 7 is? 35. And then you multiply denominator times the denominator. 2 times 1 is 2. So we have an improper fraction of 35 over 2. Can't leave a final answer as an improper fraction, so we want to ask ourselves, how many times can 2, how many times can the denominator go into the numerator? 2 goes into 2 goes into 3. How many times? Once. So if I subtract 2 from that, I like doing long division. It goes in there once, but 2 can't go into 1, so I had to drop that 5. How many times can 2 go into 15?
5. Nope. 7.
Yes, sir. So we subtract 14. We're left with
5. 1.
Yep. So 2 goes into 15 7 times. 2 times 7 is 14. It leaves us with 1. So now this mixed number, this improper fraction just gave us a mixed number. Again, this 17 represents my whole number. Anything left over is a numerator. Denominator stays the same. So now this final answer is
17.
17.5 inches. Is that your final answer?
Nope, gotta convert.
Nope, gotta convert it to feet and inches. How many 12s can we get out of 17?
1.
So that equals 1 foot.
5.5 inch.
And that's my final answer. I wish I had a bigger board. Whew. 1 foot 5.5 inches. Don't forget, anytime we have 12 or more inches, we got 17 inches here. We got to take this 17 divided by 12. There's my 1 foot. There's my 5 inches. All right. There's my 1 foot. There's my 5 inches. 1 foot 5.5 inches is the final answer. All right. If you don't have it, you'll get it. Let's look at number 3. We got 5 3/5. Now we have a mixed number going against a unit of measure of feet and inches. So what do we need to do with this mixed number? Mixed numbers can't stand as mixed numbers. We have to turn them to mixed numbers turn to improper fractions. How do we turn a mixed number to an improper fraction? Take the whole number, multiply by the denominator. So that's 5 times 5. Give us 25.
Plus that 3.
Add the numerator, the denominator, that gives us 28. Denominator stays the same. So now we get 28/5 out of that mixed number. Mixed numbers turn an improper fraction. Because there's a fraction here, we need to have a fraction over here. And you'll see what I'm talking about later when I keep saying it. So feet we have to convert to inches by multiplying by 12. We take those 12 inches and we add it to the 4 inches we already have, which gives us 16. Don't forget to drop that 1/4 inch. We have a mixed number that's 4 1/4, but because we added 12 inches to it, now it's 16 1/4. All right, so mixed numbers turn to improper fractions. So I know I'm not done with that yet. So I'm going to take this 28 over 5, bring it down. And I need to take this mixed number, turn it to an improper fraction. You ready? 16 times 4.
64.
We got 64. Take the whole number, multiply by the denominator, add the numerator,
65.
and the denominator stays the same. And I'm going to top that off with my inch marks. All right. So now we have 2 fractions. We have 2 improper fractions because we had a mixed number on one side. Mixed numbers turn to improper fractions. And then we had a whole unit of measure over here, which I know is going to turn to an improper fraction. So now we want to see if we can cross reduce. Can we cross reduce? Is there a number that can go on? Let's start, I don't know, let's start here. Can we reduce this? 5 and 65? What number can go on a 5 and 65 evenly? What number can go on a 5 and 65 evenly? 5. So 5 goes into itself
13.
one time. Yep. And 5 goes into 65 13 times. All right. Can we cross reduce that 28 and 4?
Yeah.
There's a number that can go on a 4 and 28. What would that be? I'm glad you said it. Let's go with 2. 2 goes into 4 how many times? 2 times. How many times can 2 go on to 28? Cut it in half. Yep, got you. 14. Cut that in half. So now we got 14 and 2. So that's telling me I can still reduce, right? So I can cross reduce. So I didn't grab the greatest common factor. I grabbed the lower one, right? So that means this can be reduced again. I'm glad you did that. So now 2 we know can go on to itself 1 time. And then 2 can go on to 14 7 times. All right. I know this might look confusing because it's a lot of work, and I'm working with a big space that looks so little. But now we can't reduce anymore. We got 1/13 here. We got 1/7 here. Can't reduce that way. So now we multiply 7 times 7 times 13, which is the numerators, and we multiply the denominators. 1 times 1 is. And anytime, what type of fraction is that, first of all? Improper fraction. We have 1 for a denominator. What do we know when we have 1 for a denominator? The numerator is the answer. So far we got 91 inches. Is that your final answer? Can you see that?
Yeah.
All right, so 91 inches. What do we need to do with that?
Converted it into feet and inches.
How do we do that?
Times 12.
Not times, but yep. So we need to take this 91 and we need to divide it by 12. We want to find out how many 12s we can get out of 91. How many 12s can we get out of 91? Which leaves us with all right. So we got nope. So you said that 12 can go on a 91 7 times. 7 times 12, we have to subtract 84, which leaves us with 7. So now here's my feet. Here's my inches. So my final answer is 7 feet, 7 inches. There is no fraction. There's no fraction because there's no fraction with this whole number of inches. So because we're looking for our feet, 12 more inches, we want to convert to feet and inches. I got 91 inches. If I take 84 inches away from the 91, I'm left with 7 inches because I started off with inches. I end with inches. It's not going to give you a fraction of an inch. So the final answer is 7 feet, 7 inches. Again, convert feet to inches when necessary. Mix numbers to improper fractions when necessary. And whole numbers to improper fractions when necessary. All right, we got the all-star lineup, 4 through 7. Something that I wanted to mention. When you're multiplying measurements, please do not assume that the number on the left or the right is a unit of measure if you know that the measurement on the opposite side is a unit of measure. That means it's not. And what I'm saying is this. Number 1, we got 1 foot 2 1/4 inches. That means this is just 8. That's it. Not 8 inches, not 8 feet. Here we have 4. It's just 4. It's just a whole number. It's not feet or inches, it's just 4. We got 4 times a unit of measure. So don't assume this is feet or inches because it's going to throw your answer off, especially if you're saying it's feet. Same thing here. We got a unit of measure times a mixed number. No measurement here. We have a mixed number times a unit of measure. So don't assume that this is a 2 1/4 inches because here's a unit of measure right here. So that's the main thing you need to pay attention to. Where does my unit of measure fall? Don't make something that is not. All right? Again, this is just 8, not 8 feet and not inches. You know the measurement lies to the left. So let's get started. For number 4, we got 1 foot 2 1/4 inches. And we got times 8. So I know because there's a fraction involved. Anytime there's a fraction on one side of that multiplication symbol, that means that number on the other side has to be a fraction. Anytime there's a fraction involved on one side, there has to be a fraction on the other side. All right, so first thing we know what this feet is, we have to do what with it? Convert it to inches by multiplying by 12. 12 times 1 gives us 12 inches. We're going to add 12 inches to the 2 inches that we already had. Because we got a mixed number of 2 1/4 inches, but now that mixed number reads 14 1/4 inches. We're not done with that. Times 8. How do we turn whole numbers into improper fractions? Put them over 1. My improper fraction is in place. I don't need to do anything else with that 8 over 1 yet. But I still have this mixed number. I have to turn mixed numbers to improper fraction. Feet to inches, mixed numbers to improper fractions. Whole numbers to improper fractions. So 14 times 4 is 56. Plus the one we already had is 57. So now we have 57 over, denominator stays the same. 57 over 4 times 8 over 1. So now, can I cross reduce? Can I cross reduce 1 and 57 again? Look at this as if it's just a fraction. Put the smaller number on the top, crisscross. Can 1 and 57 be reduced? No, it can't. It's already at its lowest terms. So, can't do anything with that. And no, you cannot always reduce. So now let's look at the 4 and the 8. Can we reduce 4/8? Can we reduce 4/8?
No.
4/8?
Yeah.
Yep, we can. So, can 4 go on to 8?
Mm-hmm.
Find the greatest common. 4. 4 goes into 8 how many times? Twice. And 4 goes into itself. One time. We can't cross reduce this anymore. Can't cross reduce here. So now we multiply numerator times the numerator. We double up 57. 57 times 2 gives us 114. 1 times 1. Don't forget my inch marks. And anytime we have 1 as a denominator, the answer will always be whatever that numerator is. So this equals, so we got 114 inches. But we know anytime we have 12 or more inches, we have to convert it to a, nope, 12 or more inches we convert to feet or feet and inches. It was the way I said it. It threw you off and I know it. So how do we convert inches to feet? We divide by 12. How many 12s can I get out of 114? Whatever. So 9, so we subtract 108 from there. We take 108 inches from 114 inches, we're left with 6 inches. All right? So because we had 114 inches, there's no fraction involved. There's my feet, there's my inches. Final answer will be 9 feet, 6 inches. That's my final answer. All right? So again, feet to inches when necessary. Mixed numbers turn to improper fractions. Whole numbers to improper fractions when necessary. We haven't gotten to the when necessary. Well, you'll see what I'm saying down the line. Never have 12 or more inches as a final answer. Improper fractions turn to mixed or whole numbers. 12 or more inches we convert to feet and inches. No fraction for the final answer because there was no fraction. We had 114 inches. So that means I'm left with feet and inches when it's converted. So number 5, we got 4 feet, 4. I said don't assume, don't make a you know what out of you and I. 4 whole number times 2 feet, 1/2 of an inch. The biggest battle is remembering where that unit of measurement lay. So whole numbers we know we turn to improper fractions how? Nope, by putting it over 1. There's our mixed number. We're done with that. We're done with that 4. For right now, not a mixed number, there's our improper fraction. So now we need to deal with this. Because a fraction here, we needed a fraction here. We got our improper fraction. Feet turn to inches by multiplying by 12 times 2 is 24. We had a fraction initially. But now because we have a whole number of inches, that fraction turns into a mixed number. So now I have 24.5 inches. Oh, this improper fraction, nothing to do with it yet. We'll come back to it. But I still have to take this mixed number, turn it to an improper fraction. How? Take the whole number, 24 times 2,
48.
Give us 48. Plus 1, add it to the numerator. 49. We have 49 over, denominator stays the same. Don't let that trip you up. Anytime you have a mixed number and it turns into an improper fraction, that denominator stays the same. So now we ask ourselves, can we cross reduce? Is there a number that can go on a 2 and 4 evenly? Yeah, what are we using? 2. 2 goes into itself. 1 time 2 goes into 4. 2 times. Can we cross reduce that anymore? No, we cannot. We can't reduce 1/2. It's reduced as low as it can go. 1/49. Can we reduce that? Nope. Can't reduce that. So now we multiply the numerator times the numerator. 2 times 49 is? Yep, 98. 1 times 1 is 1. Improper fraction, 98 over 1. Anytime we have 1 as a denominator, the numerator will be your answer. So now we have 98 inches. Anytime we have 12 or more inches, convert to feet and inches. So we do that by dividing by 12. How many 12s can I get out of 98?
8.
Which leaves us with 2. So that 2 represents what?
The inches.
The inches. That 8, the feet. Final answer, 8 feet, 2 inches. No fraction, because there was not a fraction. Out of the whole inches, we had 98 inches. We had to convert that to feet and inches by dividing by 12. Good job. Let's look at the next one. We got 1 foot 9 inches times a mixed number. This mixed number is telling me that there has to be a fraction here. So I have to convert the feet to inches by multiplying by 12. Take the 12 inches, add it to the 9 inches I already had. Now I have 21. How do I turn whole numbers to improper fractions? Put it over 1. And I'm not going to forget my inch marks. Mixed number. How do we turn a mixed number to an improper fraction? Take the whole number, multiply it by the denominator.
14 times 4, 56.
Add the numerator.
Plus 5, 61.
Denominator
Stays
stays the same. There's my unit of measurement. There's just not just, but there's a fraction. So now we got 21 over 1 times 61 over 14. So now we cross reduce if we can. Can we cross 1 and 6? Cross reduce 1 and 61? No, we cannot. Decide its lowest terms. There's no number that can go on a 1 and 61 evenly. It'll be redundant all day long. Don't take that route. So 21 and 14. Is there a number that can go on a 21 and 14 evenly? Yep. What number can go on a 7 and I'm sorry. What number can go on a 14 and 21? We know that 7 can go on a 14 and 7 can go on a 21. Can we reduce 2/3? Nope. So we go to multiply that numerator times the numerator. 3 times 61 is
93. And then 1 times 2.
all right. So 61 times 3, we got 183 over 2. Improper fraction. We have to take that and turn it into a what? Mixed number. I'm going to move this down. So we want to find out how many times the denominator can go into the numerator. 2 can go on an 18 9 times. We subtract 18 from that. We bring down that 3. 2 goes into 3. 1 time. If we subtract 2 from there, we're left with 1. So, improper fractions turn a mixed number. A mixed number consists of a whole number of inches. So where's my whole number of inches at? Nope. Whole number of inches. And let me write that there. And don't forget, if that's my whole number, that means this and numerator, denominator, bam. Improper fractions turn to mixed numbers. Improper fraction is going to give you a whole number of inches. It's not going to give you feet until you have received 12 or more inches. And then you get the feet. You got to get the inches first. You don't take that 91 and turn it into feet. So, we got 91 and a half inches. What do we know about that 91? What do we need to do with it? Convert it to feet and inches. How do we convert to?
Times 12.
Not times, but.
Divided by 12.
So 91 divided by 12. 12 goes into 91. Wish this board was larger. 12 goes into 91. You said 7 times. So you're telling me I have to subtract 84 inches from there, which is going to leave me what? How many inches? So feet, inches, final answer.
7 feet, 7 inches.
7 feet, 7 inches. And I'm sorry, no, let's not forget our fraction.
And a half.
Don't forget the fraction.
7 feet, 7.5 inches.
And that is our final answer. 7 feet, seems like that can be written better. 7 feet, 7.5 inches. Final answer. Alright, so couldn't get through all those. Let's hit number 7 in this next batch. Number 7, we have 21.25, not inches or not feet, times 2. That unit of measurements is on that 2, so we got 2 feet. So we have a mixed number to the left, we have a whole number to the right. Because there's a fraction involved, we have to have a fraction on the right side of that as well. So the first thing we want to do is take that mixed number and turn it into an improper fraction. How do we do that? We take the whole number, multiply it by the denominator. That's the wrong one. 2 times 4 is 8. Add the numerator. 8 plus 1 is 9. Denominator stays the same. So we got 9/4 there. Now we have to deal with this 2 feet. Again, that 2 feet we need to turn to an improper fraction. How do we convert feet to inches? Multiply that by 12. That's going to give us 24 inches. So, times 24. But we need to take that and we need to turn it into an improper fraction. How do we turn whole numbers to improper fraction? Put it over 1. So again, mixed number to improper fraction. Take the whole number, multiply by the denominator. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. 9 over denominator stays the same, times at 2 feet we have to turn to an improper fraction. But the first thing we need to do with feet before we put it over 1 is turn it to inches. 2 times 12 is 24 over 1. Now we cross reduce if we can. Can we cross reduce that 1 and 9?
No.
We cannot. So we're going to check the other way. Can we cross reduce that 4 and 24?
Yeah.
Yes, we can. So that 4, can 4 go on to 24 evenly? Let's start there. It can. So we're going to use that number, the greatest common factor. 4 goes into itself 1 time. 4 goes into 24 6 times. Can 1 and 6 be reduced anymore?
Nope.
We can't. So now we just multiply the numerator times the numerator. 9 times 6 is? 1 times 1 is? Anytime we have 1 as a denominator, the answer is always what that numerator is. I'm sorry. I'm writing numbers wrong. Don't make that mistake. 54 inches. 1 goes into 54 times. 54 inches we can't let sit like that because you got 12, more than 12 inches. If you leave 54 as a final answer, it's going to be wrong. So how many times can 12 go into 54? So now we're doing 54 divided by 12. I'm picking up this wrong one. 54 divided by 12. How many times can 12 go into 54? 4 times. We subtract 48 from there. We are left with, so this foot represents, I'm sorry, I just said it. The 4 represents my feet. The 6 represents my inches. Final answer is 4 feet, 6 inches, no fraction. There was no fraction because we had 54 whole inches. All right. So let's look at that next one. We got 1 3/5, a mixed number without a unit of measure, times 5 feet. So the first thing we need to do is what? What are we going to do with that mixed number?
1 times 5.
Turn into an improper fraction. Yep. So 1 times 5 is 5 plus 3.
8 over 5.
Denominator stays the same. What do we do with feet? How do we turn feet into an improper fraction?
Divide by 12.
Nope. How do we multiply
Yeah.
times 12? 5 times 12 is?
Yeah.
What do we do with that 60 inches? 5 times 12 is 60.
Yeah.
What do we do with that 60?
Convert that.
How do we turn it into an improper fraction?
Yeah.
Put it over 1. So now we ask ourselves, can we cross reduce? Can we cross reduce? Can we do anything with that 1 and 8? Does that reduce?
No.
1 and 8? Nope, there's no number that can go on 1 and 8 evenly. What about 5 and 60?
Yeah.
Yep, what are we using?
5.
5 goes into itself.
1.
It goes into 60.
Yeah.
Can't cross reduce anymore, so now we're going to multiply the numerator times the numerator. 8 times 12 is?
96.
And denominator times the denominator.
1.
And we know anytime we have 1 as a denominator, our answer is always going to be what that numerator is. We got 96 inches. What do we need to do with that 96 inches?
Divide by 12.
Divided by 12. Why?
Yeah, 10 feet.
So I'll convert those inches to feet, the opposite of what you said.
Yeah.
So how many 12s can I get out of 96? What's left over? So final answer would be
8 feet.
8 feet. Bam. Final answer. Great job. Let's look at number 9. Number 9, we got 6 feet times 5/12. A fraction here means we need a fraction on the other side. How do we convert whole numbers to improper fraction if we have feet? Huh? Turn it to?
Yeah, an improper fraction.
How do we convert it to an improper fraction? First thing we need to do is what? Convert it to inches. How do we convert 6 feet into inches?
Times 12.
Times 12. 6 times 12 is?
72.
So we'll multiply this times 12. So we got 72 inches over 1. Whole numbers, that's 72 inches, we put over 1. Turns to an improper fraction. Times 5/12. Just a fraction. Now we want to ask ourselves, can we cross reduce? Can we cross reduce 1/5? Can 1/5 be reduced?
No.
No, it cannot. What about that 12 and 7?
Yeah.
Can 12 go on a 7 evenly?
72.
Can 12 go on a 72? I'm sorry, can 12 go on a 72 evenly?
Yep.
It can?
Yes.
Okay. Show me how that works.
That's 6.
Huh?
You get on put 12 times 6.
12 times 6? Yes, sir. You're absolutely correct.
Go by 6 and 6 going 12 twice.
I'm sorry, I'm tripping. Don't ever doubt when I say something a certain way. Because we know that 5 times 12 is 60. One more 12 to that would be 72, so 6. So can't cross reduce anymore, right?
Right.
So now we multiply the numerator times the numerator. 6 times 5 is?
30.
And the denominator times the denominator. 1 times 1 is 1. Put my inch marks. And we got 30 inches. Because 1 goes into 30 times. Anytime we have 1 as a denominator, the answer is what that numerator is. We have 30 inches. Final answer?
Nope.
No, it is not. We need to find out what?
Convert to feet and inches.
Feet and inches. How many 12s can I get out of 30? How many 12s can I get out of 30? 6?
No, I'm not.
Absolutely not.
No.
But I think I know why you said 6. I don't know if your brain is moving that fast. But there's our 24. There's your 6. So that 2 represents your whole number of what?
Inches.
Nope.
Feet.
Feet. And anything that's left over is inches. So final answer is 2 feet, 6 inches. Okay? Whole numbers of feet, when necessary, need to turn to inches to be converted to an improper fraction. So feet to inches, 6 times 12 gave us 72 over 1. And then we had a fraction 5/12. We already had the fraction, so we cross-reduced to its lowest terms as far as we could. We got 30 over 1, which turned to 30 inches. And if you take 2 times 12 is 24 plus 6, that gives us our 30 right back. Let's look at number 10. Number 10, we got 5 feet times 7/10. What do we need to do with that 5 feet? Times 12. We need to convert it to inches because there's a fraction here. It needs to be a fraction here, so we multiply that by 12. We get 60 over 1. That fraction, don't need to do anything with it but bring it down. Cross-reduce if we can. Can we cross-reduce 1/7? No, we can't. Because 1 goes into 7 7 times, 1 goes with itself 1 time. Can we cross-reduce 10 and 60? What number? 6. Can 6 go into 10 evenly?
No. Well, no. 10.
Yeah, 10. Always ask, can that larger number go in there first? 10 can go into itself 1 time and it goes into 60. 6 times, we cross-reduce to its lowest terms and we cross-reduce. So now we multiply the numerator times the numerator. 6 times 7 is
42.
denominator
1.
42 over 1. I wanted to bring it down. We know anytime we have a denominator of 1, the answer is always what that numerator is, right? So we got 42 inches. Anytime we have 12 or more inches, we have to convert.
Convert it to feet and inches.
Yep, so we take that 42, divide it by 12, find out how many 12s we can get out of 42.
3.
Feet, inches, 3 feet, 6 inches, 36 plus 6 will take me right back to that 42 inches. And number 11, I was trying to squeeze as much as I could on the board this time. We went from 3 to 5. So we got 2/3 times 6 feet. Because we have a fraction, that means that whole number of feet have to be turned into a fraction as well. So what do we do with this 2/3? Just bring it down. We already got our fraction there. Hopefully we can see this. Times, what are we doing with that 6 feet?
6 times 12.
Which gives us
72. Over 1.
dang. Whew. 72 over 1. Hopefully they can see this. Can they? Alright, so can we cross-reduce that 1 and 2?
No.
Nope. Can we cross-reduce 3 and 72? Yeah, I think so too. Because I know that 3 can go on a 7 how many times? Twice. If there's 1 left out of 7, so that gives us 12, right?
Yeah.
3 goes into 12
4.
4 times. Bam. Yep. So 3, 1, can't cross-reduce anymore, so we just reduce that to its lowest terms. So now we got to multiply the numerator times the numerator. 2 times 24 is, hopefully they can see this, 1 times 1 is 1 inch marks. I'm going to bring that 48 down. What do we know we need to do with that 48? Convert it to feet and inches. We do that by dividing by 12. How many 12s can I get out of 48? 4. If I subtract 48 from there, I'm left with nothing, so a final answer would be 4 what? Feet. Bam. Alright, y'all. So, smooth sailing from here. I'm going to dig a little bit deeper with whole numbers. You notice there's no fractions, there's no mixed numbers. There are whole numbers for the unit of measurement, and there's whole numbers as the number. So, when I say convert feet to inches when necessary, in this case, I'm going to show you the shortcut. It is not necessary. So, we got 2 feet 3 inches times 13. All you got to do is treat this like a multiplication problem. So, we're going to take that whole number and multiply it by the whole number of feet. 2 times 13 is? 26. 26 what? 26 feet. And then 13 times 3 is? 39 inches. 26 feet, 39 inches. Just like that. We know we can't leave that 39 inches. We have to convert those inches to feet. How do we do that?
39 times 12. Divided by 12.
39 divided by 12. How many 12s can we get out of 39?
3.
3. We subtract 36 from that, we're left with 3 what?
Inches.
Inches. So this 3 represents my feet. Now I'm going to plug it in here. You just told me, hot, H-T. Hot. Can't run the AC. All right, so we just took 3 feet from this 39. And we took 36 inches from that 39. So now we have 29 feet. There's my 3 inches. That's my final answer. Alright. Again, all you got to do is find that whole number and multiply it by the feet. Then you take the whole number, multiply it by the inches. Let's look at number 13. We got 7, that's my whole number, times 5 feet 4 inches. Again, all I'm doing is take that whole number, multiply it by the feet. 7 times 5 is?
35.
That gives me 35, whatever that unit of measure is. And then we do 7 times 4, which is 28, whatever that unit of measure is. We have more than 12 inches, so we got to take that 28 in. Divide that by 12. If we take 28 and divide it by 12, how many 12s can you get out of 28? 2. Subtract 24 from that, we're left with 4. That 4 represents my inches. The 2 is my feet. So I was just told that I can add 2 feet here because I took 24 inches from here. That's 2 feet. So now I have 37 feet. There's my 4 inches left. So this final answer, 37 feet, 4 inches. All right, number 4, find that whole number. The whole number is right there in the front. We got 4 times 2 feet, 5 inches. Whole number times 2 is 8 feet. Whole number times 5 is 20 inches. Can't leave that 20 inches sitting like that. We got to convert it to feet and inches. So we got 20. How many 12s can I get out of 20? 1. Subtract 12 from that, we're left with 8. This 1 represents my feet. The 8 represents my inches. And I'm going to show it here. We just took a foot from the 20 inches. Took a foot. Hot as hell. And we subtracted 12 inches from here. 8 plus 1 is 9 feet. 20 minus 12, 8 inches. Final answer, 9 feet, 8 inches. Take the whole number, multiply it by the feet. Take the whole number, multiply it by the inches. If you got 12 or more inches, you have to convert it to feet and inches. Number 15, we got 5 feet, 4 inches. My whole number is at 7 on the back end. 5 times 7 is 35 feet. 7 times 4 is 28 inches. Whew. Why it seem like we did this? We did, but it's okay. So, that 28 inches we have to convert to feet and inches. We know we can get 2 12s out of here. So that's going to give me 2 feet. 2 12s is 24, so we subtract 24 inches from there. So now we have 37 feet, 4 inches. Number 16. Then we don't have any feet. Now we're dealing with inches. We got 9 inches times 8. Just like that. Take that 9 inches, multiply it by that whole number. 9 times 8 is 72. 72 inches, yep. We know we have to convert that to.
Feet and inches.
And we do that by dividing by 12. How many 12s can we get out of 72?
6.
6. So we got 6 feet. If we, the final answer is 6 feet, because there's nothing left. 6 times 12 is 72. Number 7, 6 times 7 inches.
42 inches.
We got 42 inches. Inches to feet, we divide by 12. How many 12s can you get out of 42? 3. We subtract 36 from that, we are left with
8. Oh, it's 6.
final answer here, 3 feet,
6 inches.
6 inches. Bam. If you want to double check it, 36, 3 times 12 is 36, plus 6 is 42 inches. Number 8, 8 inches times 5. 40 what?
Inches.
40 inches. If we divide this by 12, how many 12s can we get out of 40?
3.
Which leaves us with 4.
Inches.
Final answer is
3 feet 4 inches.
and number 19. 12 times 6 is
72
72.
inches.
72 inches.
Divide that by
Divided by 12.
and it's 6.
Yep, we can get 6 12s out of there. Minus 72, 0. Final answer is
6 feet.
6 feet. Just like that. That. Just like that. Whole numbers. Feet to inches when necessary. When you're dealing with whole numbers across the board, on the left and the right side, you do not have to worry about converting anything to anything. You don't have to convert feet to inches, mixed numbers, improper fractions. There's no mixed numbers. There's no fractions involved, so we don't need to create a fraction. So when you have whole numbers to the left and right of that multiplication sign, you don't need to create a fraction. Don't create a problem. You already got one. So just multiply that whole number times the feet, whole number times the inches. That's all we did. This is the easiest way to do it. Here we had inches. Take that whole number, multiply it by the inches. Anytime you have 12 or more inches, convert it to feet and inches, or feet, and you do that by dividing by 12. Just like that.